Welcome, everybody, to this top FooseBall College Week 5 with our 10 picks. Myself, Shane Kelsey, the long-lost brother of the Kelsey brothers, and the smartest man in Philadelphia, Mr. Rich Smoke. So, Shane, you guys were talking off camera about some college stuff, so go ahead, you guys.
I'll tell you what, our off-camera stuff is heat. We might have to start this podcast earlier to give the fans the nuggets that we're throwing out.
Yeah, he has to start going live and just not tell us that he did it, and this way, the behind-the-scenes shit. No, but I was actually just saying to Shane, and I'm not sure a lot of you other college fans out there probably realize this. Real fast, I'm going to ask you, Shane, Colorado, a fluke, or are they legit and just maybe had a bad game? What would you say Colorado's standpoint is at this point?
A decent team that was coached up, and everybody bought into the hype. And they said, remember I was asking a couple weeks ago, I wonder how much money that promotion and the media and just the juice that's going through.
A lot.
$90 million is what they estimated. $90 million worth of coverage from him being on Good Morning America, USA, all that. Yeah. So.
Wow.
I mean, I'll tell you what. I'm not sure if this is on your list. I don't want to kill the burn here, but they play USC this week, so it might be a chance for them to go from 2-0 and flying hero to all of a sudden.
It did not make I don't think it made the list. But I have a new slide.
I don't think it belongs on the list. I think USC is going to dominate them, but we'll leave that off.
Yeah, we'll see. They're undefeated. Yeah, I don't think they've lost.
After the top 10, Shane has his ending pick. We're going to talk about that. That presentation and
let me tell you what that's going to be, so everyone sticks around for the 20 fastest minutes in college football. It's blowouts, garbage, and who cares. So it could be a combination of who cares, garbage games. Just flick through and you just want to see two bums fight. This is what it's going to be, and
two bums fight.
Yeah, that's basically what the last pick is. It looks two bums. The one team just lost to Marshall.
Oh, God.
I like Marshall, though.
Hey, but an ACC school should not go to Marshall and lose.
No, they should not.
So okay.
I will present him. Shane, you started off. I'll go second, and then Anchorman is Mr. Rich Smoke, because you probably got a lot of inside track, and I don't want to take his fire away. Okay, the first game. Here we go.
Okay, you got the Utah Utes and the Oregon State Beavers. The Oregon State Beavers are the team that's the one with two teams remaining in the old dead Pac-12. And you know what? They're having a fantastic season. I don't know why they don't have a home, and they're playing good ball. They played Oregon close. They gave them within a touchdown. They gave them a ball game, and Utah is a fun team to watch. This is going to be a good one. On this slide now, we now have the points. It's a Friday game at 9 p.m. It's going to be played. And here the last four games on this we have here. Utah has covered the spread 2 of the last 4 games. They're even one game. Oregon State, 2 out of 4 games they've covered the spread. So.
Yeah,
I'm picking the Beavers. They're going to give Utah their first loss.
Ooh, wow. I like that, because that's what I was going to pick before we even said that. I'm going with the Beavers also.
Take my gloves off.
Take your gloves. I've seen them. That's funny. Rich?
Not super. I mean, I like Oregon State. I think they're a good squad, but I don't think they're going to beat Utah here. I think Utah has a really good program right now. There's a reason why they're favored coming in. I'm not usually one to give a shit about that, but I was about to say the same thing as Bernsey, actually, and that is I think Utah's defense is what sets the difference here. I'm always going to take the defensive team first, so I'm going to go Utah here over Oregon State.
Okay.
It will be close, though. That spread will be very, very close.
But one of the criteria is I try to pick games that look a little close as far as the spread line. Well, and, something I want to watch. I don't really look into the stats and all that. It's just something that if I'm flicking through, I'm going to probably watch it for, maybe at least 2 or 3 series. So.
Gotcha.
And it's a Friday game.
Oh, Friday at 9 o'clock. We got some guys into Facebook. Mr. Klein, thanks for tuning in, sir. 8 o'clock, the Celebrity Debate Tournament. He's the host with the most. Chris Elliott, I should have beeped that today going through town. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we got this next matchup. Here we go. Go ahead, Shane.
Oh, it did make the list.
It did make the list. I was full of crap the first week before the show. It did make the list. You got USC at Colorado. I think the Buffs bounce back and they hand the Trojans their first loss, but I'm not. If this was a stock, I'm still not buying the Buffaloes. They're not as good as everybody's giving them credit for, but they're a decent team. They're a 3-loss team. They're going to lose. They're going to lose 2 more games this year. But Brian Burns says Trojans huge. Well, then you buy a Magnum. If you're,
you know why he said huge? Because he never used one. That's why.
Yeah, if you're going to buy big Trojans, just go to a Magnum.
Yeah, Trojans huge is not in his medicine cabinet. No sirree. Mr. Klein said he's taking Colorado, and Beth Bodford Booth, thanks for tuning in. I'm going. I think Colorado's going to lose 2. I'm going to take the Trojans, not because Burns said so, but because it's just USC. And he says Travis Hunter ain't a joke.
I'm going to follow right along with you. I know Colorado's a good program. They got hyped up a lot of NFL stars on the sideline, which is all wonderful and great. But you are forgetting that USC does have the best quarterback in the country, or arguably the best quarterback in the country. He is a Heisman Trophy winner, and Williams over there, Caleb. They're one of the top passing teams, one of the highest scoring teams. And if Colorado couldn't stop Oregon last week, they're not going to beat the number 1 offense in USC. So I'm going to take USC big by about 30 points.
Woo, yeah, but the spread's 24. The spread's 24. So if I was going to bet, I'd pick the Buffaloes to at least cover that.
No, I don't think so. I think maybe if the spread's 24, I would take USC. I would take USC given 24, I think, on this game.
Okay.
I mean, Colorado will score, but I don't think they're going to.
No.
I think their Cinderella story's done at midnight.
They're too sloppy. They're way too sloppy. There's way too many mistakes, and they rely on the same 2 or 3 guys to make every big play for them.
Can't do that.
Right.
Can't do that.
Mr. Klein said Travis Hunter ain't a joke. Chris Elliott said, hey, Bubba, Shane, and Rich. Mr. Klein said, Shane made a lot of good points. Then we're on to the next matchup. Here you go, Shane.
Oh, okay. This is just a good old-fashioned Southern SEC football game, okay? A lot of good tailgating, a lot of great food. And if you've never, now they're going to be playing an Ole Miss, but if you've never made it to Baton Rouge or down in Louisiana to tailgate, do it. LSU is a fantastic place to gain about 5 pounds. But LSU, I take this is one. It's going to be neck and neck. You know, I'm talking to you right now. I don't even know who I'm going to pick. So I'm probably going to take LSU here. So
I'm going to go, like I said before, because my coworker, her daughter is going to school down in Ole Miss. That's who I'm taking. And I'm a rebel in life, so I'm going to go with the Ole Miss Rebels, and I'm sure Burns
2.5 point spread here, and Ole Miss has covered the spread 3 out of the last 4 games, so that's something to think about.
Burns says upset.
Ole Miss, I love that. That's great.
This definitely could be. It definitely could be an upset, 100%. I know you guys both went Ole Miss. I do like the Tigers. I am going to go with LSU in this game. That being said, it's almost like what I said last night. This is one of those asterisk picks. It doesn't matter which way you go. You can get shit in both hands here. But
quality football.
I'm going to go LSU. I'll take them by about 5 or 6. I mean, I'll give them like a small margin there, but I'm going to take LSU in this game.
Okay, Chris Elliott said Utah, USC, and LSU. That's who he's taking. Next game.
Woo!
All right, here we go. Crimson Tide and Mississippi State. Mississippi State, I actually haven't watched one of their games this year, but this is always a good game. Alabama, man, I don't know what you're getting from week to week. So with this one, the spread is 14 points. If I was betting, I would bet Mississippi State to cover, but I'm not betting, so I'm going to just pick the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Well, Burns, I hate to, roll over in your Cheerios, but as crazy as it sounds, I'm taking Mississippi State to beat Alabama.
Yeah, I was shocked last week. I know I bashed.
I like that.
I bashed Bama quite a bit last Tuesday, and I had a good reason for it. Obviously, they were playing like absolute garbage.
They still are.
I'll definitely support you on that. You know what you're going to get week from week. They actually looked pretty good last week. Actually, it wasn't a terrible performance.
Right.
But I'm going to go with the Tide. Although this is one of those ones I always root against them, so I really hope that Mississippi upsets them here. I just don't see Mississippi State doing it.
Hey, Alabama has not covered the spread 2 out of the last 3 games.
Yeah.
So
well, that's also they're also getting crazy high spreads though too. I mean, they're giving.
Oh yeah, this is one. If you're going to bet, I would put money down on Mississippi State to cover.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh, most definitely. Mr. Klein says Roll Tide ain't exactly consistent these days, and Chris Elliott took Alabama.
They're rolling like a square wheel right about now. It's a little clumpy, so
they're not traveling. That wagon wheel is going to fall off. Okay, next game, number 6.
Oh, good game.
Hey guys, you're thinking, what the hell am I doing picking this? Well, I'll tell you what. Clemson. Okay, they're still Clemson. They're still a decent ball club. The Orange are playing. They're fighting above their weight. They're the past 4 games they've covered the spread. The over and under is 53 points. Clemson, give them 7 points. I'm going to pick Syracuse to win here.
You know what? I was actually doing that myself. That's who I'm taking.
The Orange team's going to win.
I'm going to take the Orange. And here we go. Mel Kiper. Orange to cover, maybe upset, says Burns.
There we go. Burns.
In his bungalow. So, Rich?
Well, it's tough for me, man. I like Clemson a lot. I think they're a great ball club. And it sucks because usually I'm texting Shane and he's texting me back and forth during college game days. And I was watching this game, and Clemson had it, and they miss a field goal with almost no time left, and they lose
you can't
the game.
Do that.
And I was absolutely blown away. They played such a phenomenal all-around game. They started to kind of get a little ugly there in the fourth quarter. Then they finally got it back. They had a chance to win the game out, and they botched the field goal. Otherwise, I think they might be a little bit more favored in this game than they would be otherwise. I think Syracuse could win this game. I think they probably will, but I'm going to stick with the same cat that I was with last week. I'm going to go back to the Tigers, and we're going to keep it on going.
Okay. Rich Smoke with the smoke. Chris Elliott also taking Clemson. Here we go. Boosh.
Okay, this is just a good SEC matchup. Florida, here's an interesting thing about Florida, and you can see it here on this slide. The past 3 games they haven't covered. Where
I hate Florida
Kentucky's
Gators.
the complete opposite. They've covered 3 of the past 4. What was that, Papa?
I hate the Florida. I've always hated the Florida Gators.
Yeah,
I have always hated them.
I tell you what, I'm going to go off. I have been picking the Gators, and I'm pulling for Kentucky here. I think they're going to win, even though to give Florida 3 points. I'm going to take Kentucky. I'm taking the Wildcats.
Well, here's Mel Kiper. Shazam! I'm taking Kentucky too, Burns. And Chris Elliott also said the Wildcats. So, Rich, who you taking?
First of all, I'm very disappointed in what I saw from college. I was looking through some of the tickets for some of these games, and it's absolutely insanity that Colorado has the most expensive tickets in college football, over top of teams like Georgia, Bama, good teams. Anyway, as far as this game goes, it's so tough. It's such a tough call because Florida is one of those teams where they show up one week and look absolutely phenomenal. Very similar to almost a Bama type of play style right now. But Kentucky's obviously going to be favored. They're undefeated. They're coming off probably having one of their best years. But I'm actually going to stick with the Gators. I'm going to say that the Gators are going to pull this one out. I think it will be a close game. It'll probably be a 1-score game there in the end. But I'm going to take Florida Gators in this game. I don't think Kentucky's ready yet.
Okay. Leon, Grant, thanks for tuning in. Here we go. Shazam. I love
Talk about last week. I'll tell you what, that we picked the Ohio State Notre Dame game as the game of the week, and it did not disappoint.
It did not.
And me, it did.
Yeah, you it did. Yeah.
Well, the Fighting Irish came out in the wonderful green uniforms. I'm not a big Ohio State fan, but I picked Ohio State to win, and they pulled it out. The Irish should have won that. They just failed. Yeah. Duke rolls. Well, I'll tell you what, they might still have, some heartburn, and this might be a hangover game. So Duke, I think they have a chance of beating the Fighting Irish. I think Duke wins.
Ooh, I don't think so. I think they botched it in the fourth quarter. I watched the end of that game. I'm going as crazy as it sounds, and I'm sure Burns will have 18 comments here. I'm going with Notre Dame. I'm going with Notre Dame. Hi, Tammy Ralph.
I know everybody wants to beat up on Notre Dame. I feel like every year, I think it's almost like they're
good.
Weird. As an independent team, though, I feel like they've become like that one team that everybody shits on when it comes to rankings and pick shows. But I'll tell you what, Notre Dame's a good football club. First-year coach, they're going to have some stumbles here and there. It is what it is. You're changing the whole philosophy. You're changing the culture. What I'm going to say here is I don't think this game is going to be very close. I think Notre Dame, everybody watched them lose to a phenomenal Ohio State team, and not by much. Notre Dame's going to roll. Dude, I don't think it's going to be very close.
I think Notre Dame's a fantastic team. Kelly Green jersey, I saw that.
I'm glad Burns put jersey instead of former Marion Center alumni. Thank you, Burns, for the jersey. We appreciate it. Chris Elliott's taking the Irish, and that's who you got, Rich. You took the Irish.
Absolutely.
I knew you would, but that's okay, man. You got to go with who you love. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
TCU.
Yeah. I am a West Virginia fan, but I don't say we. I'm not one of those guys says I think we need to do this. No, West Virginia needs some leadership, and they had some terrible coaching in the second half that almost cost them the game. They should have just kind of milked the clock, but they threw on first down. They threw on third down.
Nope.
They're one-dimensional. They can run the ball. They have an offensive line that's fantastic. They have a nose guard a center that's fantastic. Keep running the damn thing. They won despite the coaches, despite themselves. They're not that great. However, they don't do well. They don't do well in Texas. TCU is going to beat the Mountaineers. My friends are going to shit themselves, and I'm going to get all kinds of flack, but send it my way.
Hopefully they're listening.
Let's go Mountaineers, though. I'll be rooting for you.
Well, yeah, you have to.
I live in reality.
Yeah, well, sometimes I don't. Chris Elliott's taking TCU, and here's TCU 52-49 said Mel Kiper, and I am taking TCU also.
Let's be honest. Brian, you keep calling Brian Burns here over there,
Mel
different
Kiper.
Analysts, right? If I had to put him, Mel Kiper blows a lot of smoke up your ass. That's one thing he's known for. But you know what?
So does Burns.
But see, Burns is different. Burns likes to hear himself talk. You know who likes to hear himself talk? Colin Coward, the guy who loves to just come up with the craziest list, the most random pieces of information. Brian Burns is the Colin Coward of the Big Bubba Brewer podcast here.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, though, in this game, I know TCU took a loss there in that first game against Colorado, 45-42. A lot of people doubted them right after that loss. Again, I don't think they took Colorado seriously coming into that game. They were okay, yeah, whatever. I think they went into that game half-gassed. They weren't really ready to run a full game. Don't think they expected to have to. But I mean, aside from that game, they've held everybody else down easily. I mean, they're not great teams. I mean, Nichols and Houston, SMU, they played a couple bum squads, but you still got to win. At the end of the day, I think West Virginia is going to be the next step along the way. I think they're going to beat West Virginia by about 10.
Ooh, okay.
That's a good pick.
Okay, here we go. Number 2.
Hey, this is a good one because guess what?
Ooh.
Between the two of them, 8 games, seven of these games they didn't cover. So what does that tell you? Georgia, is I don't even know. I don't even know what you have at 3-0 with the Bulldogs. Okay, they're really highly touted. They have everybody's talking about them. I think they're a good team, but when you go and you play at Jordan-Hare Stadium on a 3:30, just that far outside of the Georgia line. Things are a little bit different, when you're down at SEC. I live down there, and I know. I'll tell you what, this is one game. If I had about $2,500 to blow, I would just fly down there for that game and watch these two just.
You mean you don't have $2,500 to get in your jet?
Not to blow on this stuff, Okay. But hey, I'm picking the Bulldogs.
Okay. Colin Burns said. She played shit not 2 weeks in a row. I heard myself say, there he is. He's
yeah. You don't know what you get here.
Yeah. Chris Elliott said, Georgia, I'm going to go crazy, and I'm going to jump off the pier, and I'm going to be Jack Sparrow on the Pearl. I'm taking the Auburn Tigers.
Hey,
I mean, I'm a gambler.
Fellas, I know that we're saying we don't know what we're getting out of Georgia, but Georgia is still Georgia. Let's not forget that we're talking about the Georgia Bulldogs here.
I know.
I think what happens is, some of these teams don't have the most challenging opponents early on, so we doubt them right away. So it's like, hey,
they
you want to
play
get
down to that team.
Yeah, but and again, a lot of the time that you're playing different strategy too. I mean, when you're playing against, let's say, for example, you're Georgia playing, Middle Tennessee or whoever the hell you're playing, you're not going to put your best play. You're going to try different stuff out. So when you do play the good teams, and I'll tell you what, a lot of college coaches say it. They come up with different schemes for different games against these lower-ended teams, trying out some different plays so they can kind of toss them in when they do have those big games. However, Auburn's coming off of a loss to Texas A&M. A&M is not a bad squad, but they're not a Georgia squad by any means. Auburn also has a really dark road ahead of them with LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State being their next 3 games.
Murder's Row.
They're going to have a really ugly couple of games, and it's going to start right here. Georgia's going to trounce these guys. I'll say by 21 or more. It's going to be an absolute.
I wrote up. I was eating some herb, man, before I got this. Pick.
You're feeling good this evening.
I know. Okay, last game because we're over the 20. Boom.
Oh wait, you go back when we got Texas.
Back. I
okay.
hit the button.
Hey, Jayhawks 4-0, Texas 4-0. You can't go wrong tuning into this. I think the Longhorns beat Kansas, but they cover the spread. It's a 17-point open right now. I think it's changed to 16 right before. But hey, hook 'em horns.
That's who I'm taking. Texas Longhorns. That's who I'm taking.
Okay. Rich picked them too. So next slide.
Rich picked them too. Okay, next slide.
All right, here's a fun one for you guys.
Texas close.
Okay. We got 6 games here. It's like 6-card Monty, okay? I'm going to start with Michigan, Nebraska. It's going to be a blowout, and who cares, right? That's the way I look at it. South Carolina, Tennessee. Tennessee is picked by 13.
Tennessee.
This is just, who cares? Oregon and Stanford, another who cares. 27 points over Stanford. Does Stanford still have a football team? And then Penn State, Northwestern.
Taking Penn State all the way.
It's a blowout. Who cares against a garbage team, Northwestern? Indiana, Maryland. That's all I got to say. Who gives a care? Pitt, Virginia Tech. Garbage.
Virginia Tech.
Who cares? Who
Pitt's
cares?
Right now.
If Virginia Tech beats Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh needs to go to the MAC. Get out of the ACC because they're horrible.
If Pittsburgh wins, they need to go back to the MAC. Either way,
they're horrible.
Win here. Basically, what this game is, and the reason why I agree it's garbage. No matter who wins that final game, there, nobody really wins shit.
You watch that, you're going to lose 20 points on your IQ. You won't even be able to type in your own phone number in your phone.
This is the game. If your kids are learning how to play football,
Burns is taking Pitt this week. Julie, thanks for tuning in.
If you're trying to teach your kids the fundamental of how to play football, don't let them watch that game because it's going to fuck up their entire technique. Don't watch them guys. Don't try to play like those guys. Ignore those guys.
Well, Shane, is this going to be a new thing after the number 1? We're going to get these kind of games.
Hey, we're going to keep it
like
as
that.
it gets later in the season. I'm going to start doing that. Just keep it spicy.
Gotcha. Spicy's good.
Yeah.
Well, Burns says Pitt loses, but actually, 22:50. We got almost 23 minutes. We're 3 minutes over, but we'll take it. The fastest college sports picks of the week. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. You know what? Tomorrow night on the Triple B Experience, we will be giving our top 10 action heroes. And it's male or female, and also we're taking the AEW picks. So just join the Triple B Experience. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We do this every day, almost every day. But now I got to do a radio show at 7:30. So, hey, have a great evening, Julie.
We're back tomorrow.
We're back tomorrow at 9 o'clock with our huge Action Star picks. Rich, Shane, good night, everybody, and good night, America. Shazam.